We're back on the early edge, and we continue with the NFL team profiles, and we move with Emory Hunt and Danny Brasco to the Los Angeles Chargers. Danny, I'm going to start with you. This Chargers team, listen, ever since they got Harbaugh, this is a popular team to take. We've got a win total in 2025 of 9.5. They hit 11 wins last year. Pretty good. Do we think they crack double digits? Do we think they've got the over in them at -110 on both sides?
I think they can do it, Sia. I believe they can get to that 10th win. That over-under set at 9.5, I think, is an appropriate number, the -110 there. But I believe that they can build on that initial success with Jim Harbaugh. Look what they're doing to this football team. He's building upon that identity of that trench warfare, just ground and pound offense, going to go run heavy, adding Najee Harris, drafting Omarion Hampton, and loading up on the offensive line, adding Mekhi Becton as well. That right side with Joe Alt and Becton, they're going to push the pile. So let's take a look at the schedule. How do they get to those 10 wins? Week 1, Chiefs in Brazil. People are going to pick the Chiefs, but anything is liable to happen in those Brazil games. So I'll say Chargers upset there. You play the Raiders twice in your division. I know it's a stacked AFC West, but I think they get wins there. You see the Jaguars, and there's a little bit of a soft spot. Titans, Dolphins, beatable teams in a really tough AFC where I think they can pick up some wins. Tough stretch to end the season, but they're going to get those upsets. And Herbert and that run-first offense are going to be able to get that 10th win, I believe, Sia.
Emory, we were talking before we went live for this segment, and I feel like I need to cue the overrated chant. How are you feeling about the Chargers?
Actually, listen, 10 wins is definitely doable. I think 9 is the most exact number for this football team, so I'm going to go under here. And the reason why, everyone around them got tougher. And I love, folks making a point. Listen, man, they went out and got Najee Harris. They went out and got Omari and Hampton. They beefed up the offensive line. They signed Natron Means. They went and got Keith Lincoln and Paul Lowe. All that screams they don't trust the quarterback to throw the football more than he has to, right? So I think they're going to lean more on this run game. But because of everyone in that division has gotten better, Denver's defense might be top 3 in the NFL, if not first overall. I know our great Leger Douzable thinks they're the number 1 defense in the league, and you can't put forth a worse argument than he put together out there in terms of like why he thinks they're number 1. So I get it. I get that point of it. Offensively, the Raiders look a lot better. Then you have the Chiefs still sitting there being the Chiefs. If they can find a way to win these games versus the better teams in the AFC, i.e. the Baltimores, the Buffaloes, those teams, then I can see them getting 10 or 11 wins. But right now, I think they're capped at 9.
Yeah, I mean, music to my ears when you bring up the Denver Broncos. Emory, literally on the Early Edge Morning Show on the SportsLine YouTube channel this morning, I gave out the Broncos over 9.5 wins at +110. I absolutely love the Broncos. I like them better than the Chargers. I certainly agree with your take here. Talk to me about the Super Bowl odds for the Chargers. It's looking like from an AFC standpoint, they're 5th in the odds, or excuse me, 5th, like they're 5th to win the AFC Championship at +1,200. Is that too high? Emory, I'm going to start with you.
Can they beat any of those teams that are ahead of them on this list? No. And so until they can prove they can beat these teams, those are the teams you're going to have to see in the postseason. And right now, you even throw Houston ahead of the Chargers. We saw what that looked like last season. So this is just, I would say, stay away from the Chargers' Super Bowl odds. Trust them to win 9 or a little bit more than 9 games. But in terms of the Super Bowl, you're just giving money away.
Yeah, Brasco, your thoughts?
Yeah, Emory said it. They can't get behind these, past these perennial powerhouses. I need a much higher number if I'm going to take any action on the Chargers to get past the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs here. I think the number should be closer to 20-1. Really, if we're looking at AFC odds versus Super Bowl odds, they got to get through the AFC. If they can get to the dance, that number is of less concern to me. I want 25-1. I want a bigger, number, because this implied probability is just not enough for the division, the conference that they're in. But I believe they can push, maybe spark some hope, sneak in a wild card spot, maybe pull off an upset. It's there. They've been snake bit in the past. This franchise, just absolutely no luck. Yeah. Field goals coming up short and playoff spots, just terrible, terrible luck. So maybe Jim Harbaugh can help shake that, but unlikely.
You talk about bad luck with this franchise. I go back to the Schottenheimer days where there were games in the playoffs where they really should have won and crazy things happened. I'm literally remembering it was a huge interception, and the guy who picked it off, fumbled the ball, and it completely changed the game. Sorry for lamenting the plight of Chargers fans everywhere. Let's talk about something more realistic. The AFC West, they're plus 33. The Chargers are actually plus 310 at BetMGM to win the AFC West. I mean, I got to be honest, guys. I would take the Broncos at plus 350 ahead of the Chargers at plus 310. The Chiefs, the rightful favorite at minus 120. And the Raiders, a long shot, but certainly it may be a better team this year. Brasco, I'm going to start with you. What do we feel about this plus 310 number?
I think it's semi-fair. I think these teams can cannibalize each other in the AFC West a little bit. You talked about the Broncos, that defense Emory was bringing up. I mean, if Riley Moss and Patrick Surtain stay healthy, that's the best 1-2 combo in a secondary in the NFL, I believe. The line is intimidating. So it's going to be tough to beat them, especially if Sean Payton and Bo Nix can continue to grow together. He looked really good in his rookie campaign. But I do think they trade wins and losses there a little bit. Maybe, they each steal one from the Chiefs, perhaps. And I think it can make it a little bit interesting, but the Chiefs are going to get that 11th win most likely, or the Broncos will vie for it, and I think steal the division, not the Chargers here.
Emory, your thoughts on any of these teams, really? What number do you like the best? Is it the Chargers? Probably not, based on what I've heard.
Right, I agree. I think we'll see 2, 3, and 4 cannibalize each other, beat up on each other, but no one is beating Kansas City in terms of winning that division. So for me, the Chargers, you could make cases for the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. Based on what they have, the Raiders look like they'll be able to do a little bit of everything balance-wise, which should help out their defense. And then you look at Denver. Sean Payton has the best defense in the division, has an improving young quarterback that now the run game should be a lot better, take some of the pressure off him. The Chargers look stacked on both sides of the ball, especially along the line of scrimmage. So you can make a case for all three of those teams. But in terms of catching Kansas City, as long as Patrick Mahomes is out there, I don't think they have that chance.
Yeah, it's tough to catch Kansas City, especially if that receiver group stays healthy this year versus what happened to them last year. Let's talk about Justin Herbert real quick. Emory, 3,700.5 passing yards is the prop set for him. He's sixth in the MVP odds at plus 2,000. Give me your take on Justin Herbert. Are we looking for a big season here?
Hey, listen, there's nothing the media wouldn't like more than to give this dude a gold jacket, right? So if he does anything remotely close to competent in the postseason, sign him up for Canton, right? That's what they want to do so bad. So, but we have to see this guy beat good football teams and show up in the clutch. If I just woke up from a long regular season nap and watched the playoff games that Justin Herbert was in, I'd be like, yo, this is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen, right? But we know last year is going to be just like this year. And I love what Coach Harbaugh does for Herbert, what he did for Alex Smith. He allowed him to be much more efficient. And an efficient Justin Herbert is the best Justin Herbert. I think his numbers statistically will look a lot like what we saw last year, which is why, you can see them winning 9 or 10 games because he doesn't have to carry the weight of the entire offense. And I think that's what the goal is, which is why you saw them beef up with the run game, beef up with the offensive line to go along with a solid defense that they already have in tow.
Brasco, talk to me about any of these props or whether you think Justin Herbert's going to have a big year.
Yeah, Emory kind of broke down their offense really well. You look at, Herbert's potential. It's behind the play action pass. The run first offense is going to set up opportunities for him. And I think we'll see some bombs. That wide receiver core still lacking a little bit of depth. We know he can do great with Ladd McConkey out there, but then it's Quentin Johnson, the return of Mike Williams. That's a massive question mark. They need a little bit more there. I think they'll succeed behind the play action, but we're looking at 3,700 passing yards, MVP odds. I don't think I'm interested in taking any passing props from Justin Herbert, considering they're going to look to just beat you in the trenches and use the line of scrimmage advantages. So pass for me on any Herbert props and MVP, but his play action style could certainly work in the offense. We'll see how much he makes of it.
All right. Talk to me about any value, Brasco. I think you kind of addressed this. Plus 2,500 to win it all for the Chargers. We're not doing that, Brasco, are we?
No, that's the number I want to win the AFC West, to win the AFC, right? Much less the Super Bowl. So for that, that's what I need him. I need it closer. I give him maybe a 2% chance. So that's closer to 45-1 odds. That's not a big enough number for me. Bolting up, not that heavy, Sia.
Emory, thoughts on, listen, it's so, I love how you set up the Chargers' path to success. The 4 teams that were above them, maybe you make the argument for the Bengals because of lack of defense, but for me, it's the Ravens that are representing the AFC. Thoughts on this plus 2,500 number?
Yeah, stay away from it, man. I know they have been some crazy quarterback rankings lists from other people out there right now where Herbert is ahead of a guy that was in the Super Bowl, that beat Kansas City, that played great against Patrick Mahomes in the other Super Bowl he was in. So don't even get to me started on this whole diatribe before we hit break. So no, stay away from the Chargers Super Bowl and anything that involves them beating any one of those 5 teams we talked about ahead of them.
Real quick, last thing. Brasco, we already know your take on week 1. You think the Chargers might pull off the upset. It's a 2.5-point spread. Emory, are we laying the number with the Chiefs, or are we taking the plus 2.5?
Chiefs are a good team, big game, opener, take the Chiefs.
Yeah, that is the formula, isn't it? All right.